Yeah, let me record. Right. So welcome all of you. So we are basically a group of women who came together last month, and the idea of the group was to create a dialogue amongst women. Eventually, we realized through our discussions that we should conduct sessions. Last session was about Kamla Das's short stories, where women openly discussed about their personal lives as well and gave their point of views. We expect the same in this session.
I think it's amazing that this platform is here and that we will have a dialogue and come up with new ideas, exchange them. So I'm quite excited.
So, Anushka, can you introduce yourself and just start with the introduction?
Right. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So hi, I'm Anushka, and I'm currently an MFA student at MSU Baroda, and I'm also the critic, one of the critics for किसका किसी का audio on है? Okay, I'm also one of the critics for this year's Geo Mami Mumbai Film Festival, and this movie was on our watch list, and we had to critique it. So that's why we chose. I mean, that's how I got the idea of suggesting feminists in solidarity with this movie. So I'm assuming most of you have watched it since we had given the brief almost a week ago. But just in case, I'll do a quick recap of the plot summary. Right. So the plot summary goes like coming from a poor and destitute family, Urvashi, who's played by Smita Patil, is encouraged by her mother Shanta to be on more than friendly terms with a much older male, Keshav Dalvi, who is played by Amol Palekar. Uh, Keshav takes a liking to young Urvashi and encourages her to explore her talents in films, which she does and does gain popularity, starting as a singer and then accomplishing herself as an actress. She decides to marry Keshav only to be discouraged by her own mother, but she's strong-willed and eventually does end up marrying him. She has a child after the marriage, but still feels stifled and oppressed with Keshav, and then subsequently has many affairs, including one with a co-star Rajan, a film producer, and a director Sunil Verma, which is played by Nasiruddin Shah. Uh, she still ends up dissatisfied in the end. It is at the latter part of the movie that she meets a wealthy businessman called Vinayak Kale, who's played by Amrish Puri, and decides to settle down with him, little knowing that he's already married to another woman and has a son. And by the time she finds out about it, it's too late and she has already been accepted in the household. So the movie was obviously written at a time by Sham Benegal when testosterone was flying high in other Bollywood movies. And if you look at his filmography, he is quite the feminist. So what? Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll play certain parts of the movie which I thought could be thought provoking and very interesting. And this is something that Urja suggested me with. So the first scene that I'm going to play is just a second. Right. So Keshav, which is played by Amol Palekar, he takes Urvashi to a movie set just to give her an idea of how her life would be. But there's a very conspicuous scene that you blink and you miss. This scene that you'll see now is a very interesting scene, and I want you to just take note of everything that you see here.
Action! राजकुमारी, तुम इस बेताल के शौर्य को नहीं पहचानती, तुम मेरे क्रोध को नहीं जानती। मेरे अग्नि महल से आज तक कोई भी कुमारी जिंदा नहीं बच सकी है। मैं तुम्हारे सौंदर्य को जलाकर राख कर दूंगा। अग्नि,
Right. Now the scene, if you look at here, it's very interesting because I don't know if the director intended it, but he's trying to objectify women and especially a mythological character, a goddess, right? But if you look at the scene right here,
मैं तुम्हारे सौंदर्य को जलाकर राख कर दूंगा। अग्नि,
if you look at the man over here, it's almost as if he's in a self-fellating position, and it's very interesting because it correlates with you know what Shyam is trying to say about the objectification of women. And this is not, I'm not sure if this is something that he intended to, if that this was the intention of the director or the cinematographer, because they do play a big role in this. But it does correlate with Shyam's commentary on the objectification of women. I will play another scene, which is actually my favorite scene. It's from the end where Urvashi ends up at Vinayak Kale's house. And guys, you're free to chime in and say something if you feel anything about
Anushka, we'll talk once you're done with your presentation. We all can make notes and then get back to the specific scenes you have shown and also suggest any other scenes.
Sure. Just a second.
Before that, I would just like to ask, is the protagonist's name, her name is Usha, right? Urvashi is her the meaning of that, or is it I just wanted to clarify this.
I think it's Usha and
yeah. I think her name, I'm sorry, I watched it about a month ago, but I think her name is Usha.
No, you are right. You are right that Urvashi is the meaning because it's again referring to that mythological idea of you know, a seductress who was sent to seduce that sage Vishwamitra. So
all right, should I play this scene? Yeah, I think so. Just a second. Right. So in the scene, Usha has finally ended up with a very wealthy businessman, Vinayak Kale, played by Amrish Puri, and she feels trapped in the house. She had no idea that he already has a wife and a son, and she is the new mistress in the house. He buys her gifts, he buys her expensive jewelry boxes, oriental jewelry boxes, saris, expensive saris, because he tries to, as a way of Benegal portraying Usha as one of Vinayak's new toy. If you look at the way him and his family treat their, you know, the first wife, it's deplorable. And I'll just play the scene right here.
Usha, मुझे देख, लिखे को किसने मेटा है? मैं कभी नहीं जा पाऊंगी अक्का। जिसे बुला भेजा है वो आए तब ना। मेरी मान अपनी कैद से समझौता कर ले। चली भी गई तो क्या बदलेगा?
हेलो सर, क्या चल रहा है? वो 5G पे भी इतनी नकली चल रही है ना, मतलब हद हो गई है। मैं काट दिया, मैं सर।
Hello? Can you mute?
उषा, मर्दों के मुखौटे बदलते हैं, मर्द नहीं। और कितना भटकेगी तू?
Right. So this scene I thought was very important because in the end, the first wife, she says, "Kitna bhatkegi tu," and that alludes to the last scene. And I'm just going to play that. And it feels that the entire movie comes in a full circle, comes in a full, a complete circle. If you look at the last scene, just a second.
हेलो उषा। हेलो, मैं राजन बोल रहा हूँ। राजन, तुम्हें कैसे पता चला मैं बम्बई पहुंच गई हूँ? अच्छा वो बात जाने दो, पहले ये बताओ मिलोगी कब? बहुत सारी बातें करनी है तुमसे उषा, कुछ आपसी, कुछ फिल्मों की। हेलो उषा, सुन रही हो ना? प्रोड्यूसरों में अब भी तुम्हारी डिमांड है उषा। हेलो हेलो उषा, क्या बात है उषा? हेलो।
All right, so I thought this the last scene was very, it sort of brought the entire film into a full circle. The man Rajan, with whom Usha had an affair, he said that, you know, he sort of was trying to be very flirtatious with her, saying that thodi aapsi batein karte hain. And this is the same man who had rejected her, who, although he was pursuing her for a very long time, when she finally told him, "Okay, I want to get married to you," this is the same guy who, in the end, chickened out at the thought of marriage. He also mentions that producers mein tumhari bahut demand hai, which is something that we know after watching the movie that Usha has tried to run away from her entire life. And it was her husband Keshav who sort of forced her into and coerced her into, being an actress. So I think that in the last scene itself is such an important scene in the whole movie because it sort of convolutes the whole idea of the movie of what Benegal is trying to say in a few lines. I think that's it. I had a few other scenes in mind, but I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I will, if time permits, we can maybe play that later. But does anyone have anything to say?
Hi, Anushka. First, we have to acknowledge the fact that in parallel cinema, Smita Patil plays a huge role. I mean, she's the way she has gone through these, there's this on-screen and off-screen presence, the real world and the one where, we see. So the first scene starts with the Lavani, and since the protagonist is based on the biography of Hansa Vatkar, correct? The autobiography Sangte Aika. I'm telling you, listen. So it is interesting the way she becomes that persona, both on screen and off screen. So I really like that in the movie. And another thing I felt that she came from the Devdasi tradition. So her family was in Goa. Okay, that reference is also there, and her grandmother was a singer. So in the Devdasi tradition, a woman is not her own self. She's an object to the temple. She sings, she dances. And her grandmother also breaks the tradition. She marries, I think, and then there's a so every generation by generation, women start going ahead. So her grandmother did that. Her mother, even though she, the scene starts with that the chicken being killed, right? So there is that fear of being sacrificed, that thing. It begins that way, and then her mother also, she warns her that this guy, I don't think is right for you. But of course there are those layers of caste and class which Benegal brings in. And then again, Smita Patil, she says, right, that she wants to be a homemaker. She doesn't want to act anymore. Matlab, she doesn't want to be told what to do by the society. And then the last thing which you showed, that her daughter comes up. So I have this feeling that even though that cycle is going on, women are trying to go ahead, women are trying to question. She takes that like her mother, her husband, they tell her to swear, kasam khao ki tum ab se ye mat nahi karogi. But still she goes against that and she does what she wants to do. I think hats off, kudos to the cinematographer, and kudos to Sham Benegal, and Girish Karnad, Satyadev Dubey for writing the script. Yeah, that's like my first take. I think I went here and there, but the cycle I was interested in this movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Asavri, about what you said, you said in the end it's not a complete cycle. They are trying to break the cycle of patriarchy, and I thought that was a more optimistic view. I thought Benegal was quite pessimistic in his portrayal. If you look at all of her lovers, there's something fundamentally wrong with all of them.
Definitely pessimism is there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I was saying, Anushka, definitely there is pessimism. I'm not denying that. In fact, he literally he layers with a lot of things. But at the same time, every generation tries to say, every generation tries to break away in their own way, even though it is difficult. Even that's what I'm just trying to understand, because Devdasi tradition was very terrible. Again, there the objectification came. See, even in cinema, right? They are critiquing the cinema of that time. So those scenes where there are those posters, and you showed the Sati wala scene. Not Sati. I think it was this Tumhari khubsurti ko jala ke raak kar dunga. That wala scene. So again, he bringing thoughts when how sexism was there even in those movies, the melodrama and all those things. So that's how I was just trying to look at history.
You were about to say something.
Yeah, I was saying, why don't you play the Satiwala scene? You find it, and because it's very interesting to see how her life, her real life, and the characters she's playing in the movie, they depict two different time periods. So this is an autobiography of Hansa Vadekar, who was a Marathi and Hindi cinema actress in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. So it is based on her life, and the kind of movies we see were being made during that time. So it also shows the transition between black and white cinema, then slowly coming to the colored cinema, which we saw. So so I think it will be interesting if you play that scene after I say this. Also, the kind of character she was playing, plus her life, even after being independent, even after she was the bread earner of the family, when we talk about this pessimism, so why didn't the mother and the daughter kind of raise a voice against the father when he was beating her even after she was independent? So she was being beaten up by her husband once because probably he was jealous of her working with another co-star, Rajan. And that's when she says, no, I don't want to live with you and I'm going to leave this house. And I think he slaps her at that time, and nobody else comes to her rescue. So why didn't the mother and the daughter live with her? And if the mother had any agency, she chose to live with the man, thinking that, okay, this is the man of the house, so how can I live with my daughter? How can we three women live alone? And clearly he was abusive from the very start. So it
There's actually there's actually a scene in which he's beating her. First the mother is beating Usha, and then Usha runs to her father, and she tells him that, oh, she's hitting me. And then the father is drunk and he gets angry and he starts beating the mother, and he gets like a heart attack and he falls to the floor while he's beating her, and she still picks him up and takes him to the bed, like, and makes him lay down on the bed, and like she's taking care of him. That's just before the scene where he passes away. So I think that's also I found that scene very interesting.
I agree. I totally agree, because the Amol Palekar, Keshav, playing Keshav, he he makes the little girl almost like his property, saying that tu mere se shadi karegi, and then he asks her to sing, and then I think her mother sort of says, what is wrong with this girl? And then something she says, thenga or something, and then he beats her. No, sorry, mother beats him, and when she starts beating, then the father comes. So it's this cycle, that you can and it's shown in I think a scene, right, in Nandita?
Yeah, that's the scene I was talking about, where
it is
just
very creepy. How and he uses that word, the father, मैं मार सकता हूँ क्योंकि ये मेरी घरवाली है.
हाँ, that's what he says. Like he's taking possession of her. Like
exactly.
He belongs to me, so I can do whatever the hell I want with her.
So do you think that domestic violence has been normalized in this movie to some extent? I mean, I felt that, even though it's a very feminist movie, but towards the end also, she got slapped by the new husband, and it was very normalized. ठीक है, मारेगा ही, पति है तो. मतलब there is this tendency in this movie that is reoccurring. Domestic violence is happening again and again. So I don't know, did he normalize it? Because there was no voice that she actually rose against. I don't know, where was her voice? Where were the other women around her? There was also this scene when she was sexually harassed by the doctor who, who was the one who did her abortion when she got pregnant. I think in even that scene actually touched me, because she was saying, okay, usne mere saath zabardasti ki, ro ke, and at the same time the husband is just sitting, he doesn't care, as if and the scene just cuts there. I mean, I think sexual abuse and domestic violence, is he like showing it to critique it, or is he normalizing it? That is a discussion.
I think
yeah, go on, Anandita.
No, fine. So I do think it's like to a certain extent normalized, but I also think it's because of the time that the movie was made in. Like something like that, if it happened in today's day and age, I don't think it would be taken with, the same, it would be accepted the same way as it was then, because it was made in 1977. No? So I think it could possibly be the time. But also, yes, I did notice that none of the other women came to the rescue of Usha when she was being beaten up by these men, like throughout. Like first first this Keshav guy, and who else? Yeah, so like whenever she was when she got slapped also, no one said anything, even though there were other people around at the time.
I think Anandita has a point. this is what I actually had a meeting right prior to this, and it was and we were talking about the same thing about problematic movies, or not problematic movies as such, but problematic scenes in classical movies. And it really alludes to the time where this is made. If you look at Fellini's Dolce Vita, there's a lot of tokenism of Oriental women. There's a lot of misogyny as well. And I think it was Anupama Chopra right now who said that it's very important to look at the context and the time that the movie has been made. I think Benegal is, he's not trying to celebrate domestic violence. He's just trying to portray it in a very matter-of-factly way. What do you think, Asavri?
Definitely. And I think Shyam Benegal has made such amazing movies, not just this movie, but there's Ankur, where there's caste, class, and gender. And there are other movies, you know, Mandi, and so many others. Exactly. So I feel he's bringing images. He's bringing how women are also portrayed, and of course, I mean, you want the woman to be the bread earner. Like his husband wanted her to be the bread earner, like wanted money. But when she comes home, he would suspect her and ask her, you know, or there is another sort of violence, you know, apart from hitting her or anything. Matlab, he's also cursing her, you know, that trauma is there, I think, throughout. Domestic violence, not just physical but mental torture of her, and that is there. And objectification, I think we need to also look at that closely.
Sorry guys, I'll just quickly interrupt here.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's really a treat to hear you girls and powerful women all around. I am glad I'm being a part of this conversation. It is very important that now to question it, that how far have we evolved, or have we even evolved? That's the question first. Because when we talk about mythology in the modern world, when we talk about mythology in terms, okay, when we're saying objectification, yes, objectification was happening then. Now the objectification has been evolved in terms of it, maybe not just seeing that women being a very a second gender, but now the women is being treated in the terms of fantasizing her or putting her into the magazine covers and bringing all the glorifications, making her wear all the revealing clothes just to make and satisfy the ego of the first gender. So these are very important questions to even think around it, that how probably, you know, when we talk about mythological icons or things around it, how they are putting up and how things have been evolving. We might have evolved in terms of it. We said we are raising boys and we are a set of group people together and sitting together, talking, discussing. But how far are we able to discuss this beyond a group? Are we able to talk about it? How freely can we even raise our voices? And if we are raising our voices, where are we landing up? How comfortable we are in these spaces? These are very important questions to even think now. And then this discussion can go on and on. However, that's an open thing. We all have to think of it, like really diligently think around it, that how things have evolved, and have they also evolved or not. It has just been manipulated according to the time and to feed the ego of certain gender.
Right. I think you have a point here. Also, because when we talk about issues of domestic violence, we have to look at how we have evolved. Have we evolved is a question that we all have to face. I have seen cases of domestic violence around me, and I'm very sad to say that nobody wants to question it. Nobody within the family raises a voice for the woman. She's all alone, and still we see it around us. So 1977, 2020, I think these narratives are still there. They still exist. in some way or the
and
other.
still there in a very similar context. I
Right.
mean, probably you might say that, okay, we have given her a better life, we have given her a better luxury, but what about her own mental state? What about the feeling that she feels suffocated still? Maybe the walls are not done by clay, they might be done by the glasses and the fancy mattresses, but still the feeling is same, dude. You know, so these are very important questions to really understand. And when we see really people close to us, I'll just put up a very small question. It starts from our own houses. When we are sitting on a dinner table, our parents will never ask the boys in the house, go and get a glass of water. They will eventually ask a woman or a girl, probably a girl child, darling, can you please get a glass of water for your father or for your brother? Or maybe for your mother. So these are very small instances. That's how they go and develop to bigger instances. We have to really think from where it is starting. And as women, as we are growing, we might end up having our own kids down the line, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. However, whatever spectrum of ages we are, we have to even question this. Do we want to raise a generation like that? And this is a very small example. Just take a small example. Another example I'm giving you. You have gatherings back home. You have people back home. You are always expected to treat them first as a woman, let them eat first, host them first. And then you are ended up and you're exhausted, damn exhausted. You don't even have energy to even sit back and cherish a glass of drink with them. What kind of paparazzi have we created, and whom have we proving it that this is for them and this is for this? This is all started by back home, and we are just mythologically as saying it, just promoting it on the grounds of culture. We heritagely, the word of heritage, these bigger names we give it, and then we want to follow it and acknowledge it and put it into the boxes of society. No, this is wrong. I believe this is completely wrong. We have to question it. We have to question right then and there. And hence we can think of making any difference. And the discussions like this will make a difference then. The rest is all open. I can go on and on for it. I'm sorry, people.
Of course. That's what movies are for. They are, like a mirror through which you travel and connect to society. And that's how even Smita Patil and that husband, before they got married, they when she was watching the movie, it was she was crying, right? She was watching herself. She felt probably, Okay, in context to what you said, of course, whose fantasy is the actress? It's
Yeah.
for whom is the content being made? It's mostly for how how beautiful she is, how hot or sexy the actress is on screen. Even now, it is relevant. Obviously, it is relevant, and even now, as I look at her and her life, I still get goosebumps. So that is there. And another thing, domestic violence, yes, I mean it is happening. Educated women are being harassed or beaten up, and
I'll just give you a very
during
smaller example.
COVID-19 also.
I will give you a very small example.
COVID-19, I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, the thing is, I'll tell you what happens when we are sitting in a when you go to work desk, people end up hearing more to boys rather than hearing more to girls. They think that they have more quality context coming rather than a woman sharing her bit. Who had given them the rights? I mean, I have failed to understand. This is really not done, dude. I mean, there are such small examples. We can end up, I can make a whole archival examples out of it, that how the society is treating women, and they have normalized it, everything, whether it's a eating pattern, it's a sitting pattern, it's a sleeping pattern, it's in the office dynamics, metro dynamics, anywhere, everywhere. And they think it's pretty okay. Dude, it's not okay. Until unless we won't voice it, nobody else is going to voice it. And somebody has to get dirty to voice it. No, let's get dirty. Extended hours.
Listen, Akanksha, I just wanted to say that this thing about when a woman says something to men, or they want, many people have said to me, don't become a politician. Why are you being a politician? As if to say something, I have to be a politician. I cannot
No.
be.
Also, you tend to hear more tags, not just politician. You become feminist. You become nationalist, and then you are the Nari Morcha of the women empowerment group. You end up
Nari
getting
Shakti.
Nari Shakti. So you end up getting this nonsense to hear every time. The only thing you have to remember, darling, as what I have practiced, and that had made me sustain in the industry from last 10 good years now. So I was here in Delhi in 2009. In between, I have been traveling to UK for my higher studies. Thankfully, I got a scholarship, and the men don't listen there, the women listen there. Thankfully, that had worked out. So I'm just trying to tell you that when you speak, remember, people, you have to be dirty, and you can't say that. If you are speaking, you are a dirty woman. And for me, if somebody says I'm speaking and that contexts me to dirty, I think I have taken it a very positive synonym in my life and an adjective, and I move ahead with a more positive energy. It's okay. I have to work hard. I will work hard, and people keep talking. People keep speaking. I can't keep that. I can't make everybody happy, no? And I have to choose whom I have to make happy and prioritize my things. Simple. I'll share a very small example. Where I was working at LKA, I had a colleague with me. He was a male colleague, and he was from a media department. And he was 2 years younger than me, but he was used to still expect us to call him sir, just because he has the power of writing in media. From what context this power dynamics plays in his head, I had no clue. Till now, I had no clue. So I'm just trying to explain you that men come with their ego from somewhere. They have a halo of ego on their head, and which is completely transparent.
Right. So you see, we invited so many men and none of them joined except like 2, 3. I mean, that just shows. Okay, we tried to open it to other genders, but they have not shown.
No, but also I am trying to tell you there are equally amazing men, which I will again tell you. My man is really amazing. He believe in an egalitarian approach. We share our work chores. We share each other spaces. And he's an amazing soul. He understands when your work dynamic is there, you don't have to hamper. So there are equally good men also. It's just you have to find a right man. That's it.
Right. I mean, but in this particular movie, I like the ending particularly because she just kept the phone towards the end. And she's like, no, my life is no more about a man. I'm not gonna, go to a man again. And no matter what he says to me, and no matter how he tries to lure me into talking to him again, I'm not gonna listen to him. So she's done with men. She finds her own individuality, her own space, because she after having a fight with her husband, she used to go to other places. Like once she went to a hotel, the other time she went to the other co-star's home, Rajan's home. So she's running away from her circumstances and approaching different men to save her. And even for the suicide attempt, she approached a different man. So this tendency of going to a man to find the solution was the problem with her from the start, and she realized it towards the end. So her misery was not because of herself, it was because of the men that was surrounding her.
But then why, Urja? Again, why
I will just completely question this and answer this here. I'm sorry, I'm taking your call here.
Sure.
The thing is, we have been groomed like that, darling. From day one, does our parents tell you they have given us this right that you can take financial decisions? How do you get power in hand? How the power operates? Have you ever thought of it? Does your parents give you? I'm not saying we come from very great families. We have enough money in our pockets, thanks to God on that growth, and not flaunting, but just saying that we are in a comfortable zone of life. But do our parents tell us that, okay, from tomorrow you are going to take the funding decisions of my house and you will sit with my CA? They will end up giving this opportunity to the men of the house, to the elder brother of the house, and they will trust him more. but eventually you will be taking care of them more. You might be end up running in the house of taking care of the house, if they're ill and getting their medicines on time and things and fixing their doctor appointments, driving them here and there. Why? You have to question this. A woman has never been groomed to take care of herself since birth. She's been there. If you go out when you are young, this is something very commonly you must have seen in the children also when they are young ages. A daughter has never been allowed to even step out of the house till the next door shop to go and buy some candies. She would be asked to be gone with a young elder brother or maybe the help of the house. You have to be back by 7 o'clock. You have to be back by 7 o'clock. And the nonsense is okay and been very acceptable by men of the house to be out till 10, 12 and whatever.
And also on the lines which you said, right, that I think women is seen as a property to be held by someone. Like, tu meri girlfriend hai, tu meri girlfriend hai. You belong to me. You are not someone else. So it's the same, I think. Let me also say.
नहीं, ये तो similar women के साथ भी होता है. अगर तू मेरा boyfriend है, तो तू मेरा boyfriend है.
हाँ, नहीं, बिल्कुल होता है.
Dynamic change हो जाता है.
But when it comes to in the movie, when it comes to the scene where Amol Palekar, Keshav, बचपन में कहा था तू मुझसे शादी कर लेना, अभी तक वो उसको लेके बैठा है कि भैया तू ही मेरी वाइफ बनेगी. मतलब
she's also willing to get married to this man. And
yes, but I feel Urja that she desires to be loved. और अगर उसको कोई बोलता है कि तू ये मत करो, नहीं मैं करूँगी. And also you must understand that it's her journey. उस time पे जैसे अनंतिता ने भी कहा कि that particular period of time, जब वो उसके पुलिस भी आती है तो वो अपने अमरीश पुरी के पैर छू के चली जाती है. Things like those. Now I'm like, okay, probably in that time it was fine, right?
But there's this dichotomy that you'll see. On one hand, she's very independent. On the other hand, she wants to be a grahini. सुनने में अजीब लगेगा, but मुझे एक आम गृहिणी बनना है. It's her line. There's one line. So there's just always this idea in her head that she's trying to crave for a normal family where she leaves her career and takes care of the kids and the household chores, and she wants that life. The whole movie.
Pooja, but you have to even understand that, darling, that from where is it coming? Don't all of us has to be like that. Eventually, subconsciously, that is there in our head. That we want good jobs, but also at parallelly we want family. A family which is completely a set family, a good house, a good husband, a good car, a good apartment, probably a dog, everything good. From where it is coming, because it is embedded in our head. You can't, and when we were talking about this movie, this reminded me that more or less, there are more movies like that. If we talk about Nikah, I don't know, have you guys seen this movie? That woman also end up getting married twice, and then eventually she decides that it's not about the men, it's about me, that I have to be by myself. And that's a journey. So it takes, I believe it's a journey for everyone, whether it's men or women, and it takes time for you to understand and believe. Life keeps on changing, people keeps on changing. It just with time you get to know yourself better. And in that context, you put a men or you put a women. Men obviously have this advantage because of the patriarchy society we are in. So they will always have an upper hand. But at the same time, we cannot deny this fact that there are also a lot of men in our society who are facing a lot of stress. For example, they have to make sure to have good jobs to get good wives.
I don't know if you guys have noticed in that movie also, while there's this dance scene where before Smita Patil actually starts dancing, there's this choreographer, and he's probably, he's showing her how to dance. He's showing her the steps, and then she follows. So these connotations that our industry, in the film industry, there is not just women, there are different genders over there. That probably is gay, so they don't say anything very loud, but I feel that was also there. Many layers were there in this movie, and again, as you said, Akanksha, time. Through time, we figure out so many things. Like 4 years ago, probably the person I wouldn't have been saying these things right now. But
Completely.
through understanding why I think you realize and you relate to the characters in the movie also.
Also, I'll just give you a small example. Today we had this Fikika webinar in the evening where Dinesh Patnaik was one of the speaker, and Mr. Roy was one of the speaker, Sanjay Roy, and there was another Muslim chap. He was one of the speaker. There were a set of good 6 influential people were on the panel today for this webinar. I'm just sharing an example. I've realized it that people who have known the world and they're educated, they're also sensitized. But at the same time, who have not known the world and probably they live in their own air, you cannot expect anything from them. So it's just the ball game of what people are you with and how you tend to meet people and how you tend, you know them. And it's a lot to do completely that how well aware are you about yourself and about what context you are talking. So that makes a lot of difference.
Right. Mithun, I had raised her hand. Okay, so I was thinking, there's this, narration of Sati Pratha and, other issues, like the first movie that we saw when he was saying that, मैं तेरा सौंदर्य ले लूंगा, मुझे तो deny करेगी क्या? So he was some king on the basis of power. He was saying, okay, I will take away your beauty and you can't exist if you deny me. Something like that. And then during the Sati Pratha, she was telling the Yamraj, please take me, don't take my husband, take me instead. And if you're taking my husband, also take me along with him. So in a way, I feel that it was glorifying Sati Pratha rather than, maybe he himself was not questioning. He was not intending to, in a way, glorify it, but I really felt it to be problematic that there should be. Do you think it's cinema's kind of responsibility to give a critique at the same time rather than just depicting the reality? Because that is something that Malvi also critiques in her write-up and related to cinema. And she talks about how while we show women in certain victimized state, we are reinstating the narrative rather than giving a solution. So that was something that I had in mind related to this movie. And even now we see certain movies where these the violence is, or these instances are normalized, and some way or the other there is some critique also provided in the movies, but largely it is absent even now. So we don't want women to be depicted in a very victimized state. We want an answer, we want them to be empowered, we want them. On the other hand, the character she was playing versus her real life, that really intrigued me, because in her real life she had the agency and she was the sole protagonist. She was there in every scene. There was no scene without her. That is rare for a movie, right? At that time, 1977, the only protagonist is her. She is there in every scene. There is no scene without her, and that is amazing.
Definitely amazing. And I felt that her journey was beautiful. To learn, even though she goes and she runs away from, not runs away, but she moves away from that situation, she carries that, she carries it with her. And then I was thinking to myself, there's a nice synthesis of the real world and the filmy world, what she's portraying, that role of a daughter, role of a mother, role of a wife, bhumika, hence. So there was that nice representation. And also now when I think about where do we, in popular television serials, Saas Bahu, they are still happening. There was a time when Doordarshan had this amazing portrayal of women characters, smart characters. But I think gradually over the time, there's a demand for Saas Bahu serials, and the tragedy between them both. Like in Goa, for example, we don't have a lot of Konkani serials going on. Like we don't have a great channel apart from few news channels, but there is this interest to look at the Marathi serials. What is happening? And it's there in every household. So if I put a status, all my friends would be like, "Oh, even in your house." So yeah, that's what I
will quickly add to this. It's just like, as an individual, we are inquisitive to look into another lives. We are human. That's the human tendency. So what happens when these serials are coming up into different languages and being narrated at different centers in terms of it? If, for example, Marathi channel has been there in Goa, or maybe a Gujarati channel is in the north, or maybe a Punjabi serial is there down south. What is happening? They have found the real nerve of Indian individuals. They love to be pokey. They love to be inquisitive. What's happening? So these people have got to understand that, okay, that's how it works, and it will make them earn. So that's just, I'm adding on this. So I don't know how people think it, but it is true that people really like the drama in others' life, and somehow unconsciously related to their own life, and put themselves into a completely pity state. Oh shit, this is really happening in our life also. Maybe my son is like that. Maybe my Baurani is like that. XYZ activities.
In that context, I just remembered this Nasruddin Shah's character in that movie. What's his name? I think Sunil Verma. So he's this director, and he's this philosopher. So he has this nihilist take on life. They have this pact where they'll die together. So there are people you meet like these, who are very intellectual and broad-minded, you think, and compatible. But in the end, he also betrays her. So I think what scares me personally in the movie is what is this? Matlab, is there no end to this?
I will also like to tell you one thing here. Very recently, I've gone through an Instagram. I was following certain story, and that was a Pakistani channel. So that woman was saying that, our 90% of the series are where a Pakistani woman is shown the way she is. Very, she's wearing her saran over it, very covered, very full clothes, anything, like everything like that. And she also mentioned that we are not Bollywood. We are not Bollywood. That means our audience, the one which takes us, is the one who accepts us in full clothes. Our audience cannot see us in a glorified manner, because our 90% population is middle class and who's watching this. If I end up putting lot of things which is beyond the cultural stigma of the middle class people, and our audience start wearing shorter clothes, or start going to the colleges with all colored hairs and tattoo, they will not accept it. So when you said no, who are we making this for?
Yeah.
So we have to really question. Our heads are being manipulated here. And they're manipulated complete, and they're manipulated to levels, to different levels, and you have to keep unpeeling them and understand it, that how it has been completely changed down the line. Just remember 10 years back, does the Saas Bahu serial, Ekta Kapoor wave, before the Ekta Kapoor wave, I would say, do we have certain stories where people were fighting in houses, dynamics, or we always had this family knitted, bigger families, joint families. We always had that, but there were never been fights or internal dynamics being portrayed. How these waves have created, and these waves have been spoiling the heads of huger population.
हेलो, आई थिंक ये जो मैनिपुलेशन है, मुझे कहीं पे मतलब हम जब माइथोलॉजिकल स्टोरीज भी पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें सीता हो या पांचाली हो या फिर सती हो, तो वो तब से चला आ रहा है. लाइक सीता भी एट द एंड वो सैक्रिफाइस करती है अपनी लाइफ की प्रूफ करने के लिए. सो आई थिंक वो बहुत पहले से चला आ रहा है.
मैनिपुलेशन वही कर सकता है जिसके हाथ में
बिल्कुल.
पावर है.
और सीता के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू का भी तो रामायण है. मतलब what kind of Ramayan do you want to see? There are so many Ramayans. So that is there. But see, in that particular film, the way मतलब पर्दे पे औरत कैसी दिखनी चाहिए, morals, morality, ethics, all those things are there. I mean,
the checklist is only for women.
Yeah. No, even a man is expected to be something. Even a man is expected to, be manly, to, have, क्या बोलते हैं, औरत को संभालो,
intellectually rich in opinion, like Sunil.
Yeah.
Sunil was. I want to die by my wish. I don't want to die otherwise. And then she's like, would you die with me? And then he's like, yeah, okay, let's die together. But eventually he leaves. Like, okay, you wanted to die. I didn't eat my pills. I was just, fooling her in a way, as if कि उसको कुछ नहीं पता इसको कि ये तो जिंदगी के बारे में कुछ नहीं जानती, तो मैं बस प्ले करूंगा एक्ट इसके साथ and I'll just leave. That was showing something. I felt it to be problematic. He's leaving like that.
It was. And mythology, what Rutuja said, I mean, the way stories are, taken. So you learn values from them. You learn what is right, what is wrong. You make a sense of what it is. So एक अजीब सा मतलब बहुत सुंदर. I think Smita Patil, she's an amazing actress, and the way she went into the skin of the character, both while doing melodrama, is fantastic, I felt. And also what Anushka said, the scene where the wife of the character Vinayak Kare, a rich businessman, right? So he keeps her in the bungalow, and she is expected to be there, locked inside, and सेवा करनी है उसके पत्नी की, and the patni is saying that what will happen, just accept your situation. What will happen? Men बिस्तर वही रहेगा, रसोई हाँ मतलब बिस्तर बदलेगा, रसोई बदलेगी, पर मुखौटे बदलेंगे, but मर्द तो वही रहेंगे. So that endless thing, that is what scares me the most in the movie. So it is like, I think it is transgression. It is provoking you to think why. And that is why we are having this conversation right now, that what is wrong? Like, is it still wrong? So that's what I felt very strongly in the movie.
Also, towards the end, also when you see that she comes back to the hotel room and her daughter tells her that I'm pregnant, and she says that, oh, ye tune kya kiya, beti tune kalankit kar diya, stuff like that. And then the daughter says, no, mama, I am married. I got married. So this idea of pregnancy with, without marriage, it's such a taboo. And women play it more than men. I've seen women playing it more than men. Unko khud hi lagta hum kalankit ho gaye. This idea. This was also problematic. But towards the end, you'll also see that she broke away from this pattern, as Avri, which you're saying, this cyclical nature of, a man being the same.
Yes.
She breaks it by keeping that phone. So that is a learning we can all take from this movie.
I interpreted the ending a little bit differently actually when she put down the phone and she like, you know, when this guy had called, what was his name? I can't remember his
Rajan.
Yeah, had called her and he was telling her that, you know, the producers are still interested in you. I felt like when she put down the phone and, you know, she just let him continue speaking, I felt like she was resigning herself to her fate. That is what I interpreted from the movie. Not in the sense that, you know, she was like, you know, she was breaking away from the cycle of men. That's what I felt.
आई थिंक वो एंड ही लाइक ओपन एंड रखा है उसने, लाइक मतलब ऑडियंस के ऊपर छोड़ दिया है कि अभी वो आगे जाएगी या फिर लाइक उसने सब छोड़ दिया है. काइंड ऑफ ओपन एंड.
I think Rujuta has a point, but I still agree with Anandita, because even though there's an open end, you can see through her expressions, by the way she feels about the fact that she doesn't respond to Rajan when he brings up her past, knowing that the past, you know, it has eventually come in a full circle, you know, that she finally has to resign to her fate and there is no breaking out of this circle. And I think this is what I meant, Asabri, when I mentioned, you know, the movie coming together in the end. So I honestly didn't think, I think Urja, that's a very interesting idea, but honestly I didn't think that it ended on a very neither an optimistic note, but not even with a moral saying that, you know, this is something that we can take from the movie. I just thought that it was very pessimistic in the fact that Usha resigned to her fate.
I think to some extent she does have that idea ingrained in her mind, some sort of, you know, those patriarchal values that, you know, a woman is not pure anymore if she has sex before she gets married. So that is why when her daughter tells her that she's pregnant, she kind of has anxiety, like, oh my god, you're not married, then you're pregnant. And then she tells her daughter, don't worry, I am married now. So I feel like somewhere down the line, even though she is like a very strong and independent woman, like she is strong-willed, she does have those ideas in her mind. Also at the same time, I do feel like women, you know, can be independent and want a family at the same time. It doesn't have to be two very different things. That is my interpretation of the situation, because there are women who would not want to get married, and there are women who are strong and independent but want to get married and do want to have a family at the same time. So I think it just comes down to a matter of choice. And yeah, that was what I thought of it.
Yeah, I think I agree with the last part that you said,
yes.
That yeah, it's a matter of choice. And again, I know a lot of women who want to have a family, and basically they want to have a career as well. So I don't think that really should be something that should be shamed. I'm not sure if shamed is the right word.
चॉइस तो बहुत important part है इस मूवी में. मतलब she chooses to be whatever she wants to be. But see, I agree to Anushka that it is pessimistic in a way. So that's what, that uncertainty of what will be is there. Even though there are many interpretations, I like to believe that with time things do change. You know, everyone changes their approach, but still that patriarchal setup is there. Still, it's going to be doomed. So that anxiety is there, and her ending that she doesn't respond to Rajan, you can feel her, you can feel that she's tired now. She just wants to deal with her own emotions herself. So I think that is very strong, and you need strength to be on your own feet.
So the cycle,
you know?
is broken. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's my interpretation. I felt, and even
I think no, I feel that there cannot be one ending, one interpretation. I think it is open. We can make our own ending and learn from that experience, that autobiographical, that biographical experience of hers.
right. Does anybody else want to add something? So the meeting. Okay, Mahavir, go on.
Hi everyone. Actually, I'm really sorry I haven't seen the film, but while you guys were talking, I was thinking about a lot of wonderful films made by Shyam Benegal and Satyajit Ray, and a couple of scenes you were talking, I was thinking about Pratidwandi also, how the lead character's sister becomes very independent, and then he started getting insecure, and then also talks about I mean, yeah, so he was questioning her character also eventually, but eventually he realizes, okay, he portrayed tries to be that that progressive and educated male, but again he is marred by the similar kind of insecurities. And other films by Shyam Benegal, I was also thinking about Suraj Ka Saatwaं Ghoda. So three different
Lovely movie. Lovely
yeah.
movie.
Lovely.
So I've seen that film like a lot of times, and so while you were describing the lead character Smita Padilla from Bhumika, so I was seeing the reflection of the same character in three different characters in Suraj Ka Saatwaं Ghoda also. So different phases of uh, um the protagonist, how she was living her life, and different realizations over the course of her life. And so yeah, so that's my input, and I think it's this group is like really exciting because you are I mean, as a man, I'm really getting to know a very different kind of perspective towards cinema, and I'm hoping to attend more of these meetings. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really nice. And Suraj Ka Saatwaं Ghoda is a beautiful movie. Again, talking a lot about
And
morality
Mandi
and
also, I guess. I guess Mandi also, like someone mentioned
I
Mandi.
think
So
मैं यहाँ पे like उम्बरठा सजेस्ट करना चाहूंगी बिकॉज वो मेरा स्मिता पाटिल का सबसे फेवरेट मूवी है बिकॉज लास्ट में वो इंडिपेंडेंट होके सब कुछ छोड़ के चली जाती है.
yes, true. Smita Patil is a queen over here. I think we'll end on that note. Um, Thank you everyone for coming in. Thank you Anushka for introducing the whole movie, and whoever has not seen. So that was really nice, and to see the glimpses of that movie. So thank you everyone for coming in, whoever here.
Thank you,
thank you so
Asabri.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having the
Looking
session.
forward. Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. See you for the next week. Bye bye.
Bye.